Now that it is finally getting nicer, what better way to get back outside than with some recipes that are perfect to take along with you on a picnic?
When I'm out on a picnic, I love to have some sort of a dip, and I'm going to start out by showing you how to make this dip that tastes just like Boursin cheese. So in a blender or a food processor, you want to add in a clove of garlic, some cottage cheese, along with some sour cream. And then for the spices, we're going to add in dill. The recipe calls for basil. I didn't have any, so I just went with oregano. I know it's a different flavor profile, but it tasted really good. And then some dried thyme, along with some parsley. And then you also want to add a little bit of garlic powder and then season to taste with salt and pepper. Now, I will say the garlic, like I love garlic, but it was hot, like with the raw garlic in there. So just keep that in mind. But I had a pretty large clove of garlic. But I will have this recipe linked with all of them in the description box below so you can get exact measurements. But you just want to blend that until it is nice and smooth and creamy. It is so good, and no one's going to know that cottage cheese is in there, and it's just a higher protein dip for you. So I just serve it along with some carrots or crackers, and I'm just plating it just to kind of show you, but obviously for a picnic you would have it in a container.
Today's video is part of a collaboration for National Picnic Day, and it is hosted by Molly Purcell and Melissa from I'm Merely Melissa. So make sure that you check out the other videos linked in the playlist in the description box below so you can see everyone's amazing recipes.
Sandwiches are a picnic go-to, and I wanted to give some recipes that weren't your classic sandwiches, and the muffaletta is my husband's favorite. All right, so here's an overview of everything that I'm going to use for Matt's muffaletta sandwich. So you're just going to need an Italian loaf of bread. The traditional sandwich is in like a circular loaf, which I could not find at my local Walmart. So this is going to be just fine. And then you're going to need sliced mozzarella and provolone cheese. And then for meat, I went to the deli and I got some thinly sliced pepperoni and salami. Go to your deli for these kind of meats. It was like half the price of the already sliced prepackaged pepperoni and salami. So check that out if you haven't done that already. And then we already had this ham for lunch meat, so that's going to be the third meat. Now, traditional muffaletta has mortadella and not the pepperoni, but the local restaurant that Matt loves the sandwich from does it this way. So that's what we're going to do. And then I took the easy way out, and I got this Italian olive salad already made in a jar instead of making it myself. But I will have the recipe linked in the description box for you below if you do want to make it homemade. I definitely would have, but it's a lot of ingredients and a lot of stuff that we don't normally use, so I didn't want to be wasteful, so I just bought it pre-made. So all you're going to do is cut your bread in half, like lengthwise, and open it up, and then you're going to scoop out a lot of the inside of that bread. That's just the way that this sandwich is made, and then you can use that bread to make like breadcrumbs. I mean, there's all sorts of different things that you could do with it, so it doesn't have to go to waste. But I went ahead and cut that in half, took out the middle, and then the sandwich place that he loves it from around us, it's actually a pizza place that has sandwiches. They do mayo on one side, which is not traditional. So I did add some mayo, and then I'm going to go in with the meat. Now this is meant to be like a thick, heavy, like meat and cheese heavy sandwich. So there's going to be a lot of meat on here, but you can obviously do that to your preference and use the meats that you like. It doesn't have to be a certain way, but these are what he likes and kind of what's traditional with some of the recipes. And then on the other piece of bread, I'm going to take that olive salad and spread it over. And then we're going to put the cheese on that side. Again, use as much or as little as you'd like. The great thing about this sandwich is it gets better with time. So you want to put it together, kind of squish it down, and then wrap it for your picnic, and it's going to taste better later. So it's perfect for a picnic. And then he also likes it toasted in a pan. So if you want to do it that way, that's another way to try it. He loves. But again, super simple and perfect for a picnic. Now for myself, I made a sweet potato wrap, and this was so good. I loved this recipe. I'm going to start out by thinly slicing some onions because I am going to caramelize them. So I'm just going to thinly slice them, and then I'm also going to thinly slice some mushrooms that I'm going to add into the pan. Now this recipe showed like roasting the sweet potatoes, and then once the sweet potatoes were done roasting, putting the mushrooms in the oven, but I just did it all in the pan this way. But I did roast my sweet potatoes in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes while I prepped the onions and the mushrooms. But I cannot say enough good things about this wrap. The flavor is amazing. If you're looking for a meatless option, or even if you're like me where I'm not a vegetarian, but I do like to have a lot of like veggie forward dishes, this was perfect for me, and this would be perfect to take on a picnic. You can easily wrap it up to go. So once the onions were pretty soft and starting to caramelize, I added the mushrooms in, let it go for another few minutes, and I added a touch more olive oil at this point too, because I knew my pan was pretty dry. And then once they were finished cooking, I seasoned them to taste with some salt and pepper. I do think an important thing in this dish is to season along the way. So you want to season your sweet potatoes, you want to season the mushrooms and onions, just to make sure that each level of the wrap is properly seasoned makes a big difference. So for the wrap, I'm just using these Mission Carb Balance tortillas. You can use whatever you like. So I'm going to go ahead and spread some already made pesto on the bottom of that wrap, and just kind of leave like a little bit of like maybe like a 1/4 of an inch around the outside just so I can wrap it. And then I'm going to put the roasted sweet potatoes down the middle and then top it with the onion and mushroom mixture. And then we're just going to roll this up and it is done. And like I said, I cannot say enough good things. This has amazing flavor and definitely would be perfect for a picnic. I did almost forget to mention that you want the sweet potatoes and the mushrooms and onions to cool before assembling, so you can definitely prep those ahead of time as well.
Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen today. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing these recipes. Make sure that you check out the other videos linked in that description box below, and I will see you in the next video.